Maybe just not our actual logo on there. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know why it looks like that.
Interesting. Oh boy.
So do I need to fire up anything in the studio?
I guess we're gonna take calls. I don't know.
I mean, we'll just be all right this morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just get through the next 2 hours.
Well, I'm trying to pull a few bits of audio.
This has been something. I don't know if you can. I doubt you'll be able to see behind me, but
I don't know.
Kelly, I can't even start to describe what has happened this morning. It's been a morning. It has been a morning. But we are here, ready to go.
It's gonna be a day too.
And I finally got the coffee going. I've worked at couldn't leave the house and or couldn't get out of the neighborhood and no power. I didn't know how to make my own coffee. I guess actually I do have some cold brew in there.
It's not up there anymore.
All right, either thunder or maybe we're getting another storm. Jen, is it storming down there now?
I don't think you can hear. It's very snowy here though. We just sprinted outside so Polly could pee and then sprinted back inside. It's 28 degrees.
Yeah, the cold weather's coming. Yeah, it's there's a tree down right outside of the gate, Heather. There's a tree down right outside of the gate that's why I'm back here. That's why I just did the first hour in the car in the driveway. Because obviously, as you know, we had no power. But I don't know if they've cut it down or not. I'm actually texting with Forrest now as we're talking about how much it was. And Jen said there was a whole bunch of trees down on Old Chapin, but they've been cut out of the way. There you go. There's your Old Chapin update. Old Chapin Road.
All right, guys are up.
Okay. Well, I'm back in the house. We are back on the live stream. So we're moving toward a normal 2022, right? Like it just took the first hour. If you're just tuning in, if you're wondering what's been going on, well, I went to leave the house. Jen and I live in the same kind of area in Lexington, and we actually were kind of checking on each other at about 5 a.m. to make sure that each one of us was okay because we lost power. She was able to make it to the studio where I live. There was a tree down and on top of power lines, and I just felt safety-wise that the best thing I could do was just turn right back around. We have equipment that handles that. Yes, Jen. Yeah, Jen said. Yeah. No, it was hanging on a power line, and the power line was about that was just a little bit. I don't know if it's been moved by now. So then I come back to the house, and of course there's no power. And I'm thinking, well, I'll just sit here in the dark and use the box that we have for when we go on remotes or anything. Well, I guess I didn't charge it because it was nearly dead. So the first hour of the show, I sat in the Tahoe out in the driveway and had the Tahoe running so that I could have the box plugged in to have access to power. The power came back on about 20 minutes ago. I'm now back in the house. We're on the live stream. If you want to join us on the Buford Lending live stream, you can do that. If you want to weigh in this morning, I do have the Cool Care Heating and Air text line up now, 803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in this morning. We'll get to a bunch of these here as I do see several of you weighing in. Newberry Chris saying it'll be a little bit more competition in the quarterback room next year for sure, and a couple others of you weighing in here. So we will keep you updated. We'll get to that as well. Anonymous texter, yeah, we've been saying it all morning. Be careful out there. There's down branches. Power is being restored in certain places. Certainly last night, not a particularly good night in terms of weather, but hopefully everybody's doing okay this morning and has made it through and not suffered any major catastrophes or setbacks with cars or with things falling on the house. Certainly it is interesting out there right now. So you're right. And Jen, as I was kind of wrapping up that previous segment, if last night wasn't enough, if you're out on the east side of Columbia, I guess is how it would be deemed. Is that right? Towards Elgin, this morning there's been a 2.7 magnitude earthquake that has been reported in Elgin, South Carolina, at roughly 5:54 this morning. So, it's something. Yeah, welcome to 2022, as people were saying on my Facebook all weekend. So that is it. If you're out there, be safe this morning. Jen is downtown in studio. I'm now back here. I'm actually back finally in the house where I can hit with power. I'll show it on the live stream in a minute. The setup that I had before realizing that the box didn't have enough power. For Christmas, I got one of those grill lights that you can kind of put on your grill if you don't have great lighting around. And we can see it on the live stream there. You see that little light? That was going to be the only light that I had this morning in the house. Something that you would like put on your grill for grilling at night and use. But then it turned out the box wasn't going to work. So we're up and running. We hope you are being safe out there this morning. 803-404-6100. That's how you can join us this morning. Patrick, obviously, right there, Sterling at the end. It is interesting. We've talked about this. And DeCarrion Joyner, we saw him against Georgia a couple of years ago, and he was able to come in and kind of hold down the fort, not make any major mistakes. And, he was a big part of that victory that South Carolina had over, at the time, I think, number 3 ranked Georgia in 2019. And then on Thursday afternoon, he comes in 9 of 9 passing, 160 yards, added about 57 rushing yards to that total, hits the long pass, and just managed the game. And South Carolina, Patrick, at times we talk about being creative, and I think you and I talked about this again on Wednesday morning. That doesn't mean going out and throwing, triple reverses and having the left guard throw a pass to the right tackle. It just means doing things a little different and running plays off of plays you've previously run. And it felt like South Carolina did that. It was, without a doubt, the absolute best game plan that we've seen all season from Marcus Satterfield from South Carolina. And it pays off with a huge victory that propels them into the offseason.
Yeah, it was not even just freaky trick plays with reverses and things like that. It was just maybe it's the DeCarrion Joyner factor where you've got another threat to run the football, but two in the backfield, and you're handing it off to Jaheim Bow from the H-back position. You're running a lot of counter that's really effective. 2 tight ends in there and going opposite ways. Just a lot of movement, a lot of good ball handling from DeCarrion Joyner, making good decisions when to hand it off, when to keep it and tuck it and run. Yeah, it was. I don't know how replicable that is going forward because I don't know how much quarterback run there's going to be with Spencer Rattler at the helm, but it's exciting and a little frustrating that it took until the very last game of the season to see it. But this is also a benefit of the extra bowl practices. You get a couple extra weeks to work on things, and maybe this was the time where during the bye week you don't get enough time to self-scout and figure out what your strengths and weaknesses are when you're focused on another opponent. But with a couple weeks to focus only on yourselves, find out who your best player. You already know who your best players are. You found that out during the season, but now figure out how to best get the ball in their hands in positions to be successful. Maybe that is what you needed to propel the team going forward. And next year, Marcus Satterfield will know what he's got in Jaheim Bell, who can run the ball, who can catch the ball. He's great after the catch. Just get him the ball in space, and he can make plays. He'll know what he's got in his offensive line. I mean, I thought he probably expected his offensive line to be better from the jump and needed to learn how to work with them. So, maybe best case scenario is the bowl practice was your best opportunity to get work on solely yourself in, and going into next year, you'll have a better idea what your identity is going to be.
The 2 year on the run game, DeCarrion Joyner, again, 10 carries, 64 yards. His long was 17 yards. Kevin Harris had a long of 31 carries, 182 yards. Juju McDowell gets into the action, 5 carries, 52 yards. For those wondering, it was Marshawn Lloyd suffered a hamstring injury, tried to give it a go, could not play. He ends up sitting out. So it was South Carolina. And this is the other thing, Patrick, it sounds great in theory to have multiple running backs, right? And I think you and I have kind of debated this at times. Yeah, you got Harris and White and Lloyd, and now McDowell's coming along, Rashad Amos. Okay, that all looks great. But 31 carries for Kevin Harris. And, when he's been at his best, it's when he's gotten extra carries, the kind of running back he is. He's a power back who just wears people down. And without a doubt, his best game of the year, 31 carries, 182 yards, a touchdown, averaged 5.9 yards per carry, a long of 38. You wear him down, and then you come back with a little scat back in Juju McDowell, 5 carries, 52 yards, and he had a 35-yard touchdown burst. And Jaheim Bell, the big carry, I kind of set the tone, Patrick, right? The carry right off the bat, South Carolina lines up, kind of catch maybe North Carolina off guard, Joiner's in the backfield. You hand off to Jaheim Bell, and he kind of skirts over the right side and goes for 20 yards there up the sideline and kind of really set the tempo. Are you with me on that? As you go into next year, you want to see a little bit more of just one back getting the majority of carries in a game? I tend to think that that's always the way to go, but who knows?
Yeah, because, well, yes and no, because you want to ride the hot hand at the end of the day. And there were games this year where early on in the season, I can't remember which game it was, but we noticed you basically win the game because you realize that getting to the edge with Juju McDowell is the best recipe for success. And that's what South Carolina did. I think it was the East Carolina game. And then there's other games where you just want to pound it with Kevin Harris and just keep moving the chains, keep tiring out the defensive line. So it's good to have different combinations of guys, but I think that's what one of our fears was at the beginning of the season is you're trying too hard to get everybody integrated. And at the end of the day, you don't have opportunities to give 4 running backs a good amount of carries. And it's just that type of position where you hear every running back ever has said you get a feel for the game when you're running back. If you take 1 carry, then come back 2 drives later, try to take another carry, it's not the same as just getting the carries, getting the feel of just the defense, the holes opening up, and just kind of the momentum that comes with position. It's like coming off the bench in basketball after sitting on the bench for 15 minutes and then firing up a 3-pointer. It's just you have no feel for the game or anything like that. You're just coming in cold and it doesn't work. So yeah, I'm with you in that regard. That just if something's working, just keep running that person. Don't feel like you need to give everyone the ball.
803-404-6100. Let's fire through a couple of these. Cody in West Columbia says, Patrick, morning, guys and girls. I got to ask if y'all know the last time a team won a game with 4 different starting quarterbacks in a season. I'd be fascinated to know if that's ever happened, Patrick. I mean, Zeb Nolan did trot out there, obviously, but that's precisely 4 starting quarterbacks when you talk about Nolan, Doty, Jason Brown, and now DeCarrion Joyner. They all pick up a win as the starting quarterback. That's kind of crazy to think about. It'll be very interesting to see if that's something that next year, if Spencer Rattler, and that's Patrick, we still agree. It's not like De'Carrion Joyner didn't change our minds about what exactly De'Carrion Joyner didn't change our mind about who the starting quarterback would be going into next year, right? Like,
No.
and I don't know if you necessarily with Braden Davis, with Tanner Bailey, with Colton Gauthier, Joyner is still too good of an athlete to have off the field as just the backup quarterback, right?
Yeah. He didn't change our minds that we think he should be the starter, but he just further confirmed that there is a role for him in the offense, and there can be a role for him at the quarterback position no matter who the starter is. We're not saying that he needs to get out there and drop back 20 times a game. We're not saying get in there and just run him whenever he's on the field. You know that he's going to run left. Just you know that when you have an athlete that good, he's a decision maker, he's experienced, he's played a lot of football, and he's played in big moments now. There is a role for that guy where he can make you better. If it's third and short and you want to have three options of him handing it off, running, or throwing the ball, there's a lot of things that you can do there. And I think that no matter who the quarterback is, I don't care if it's Spencer Rattler or Trevor Lawrence or Zeb Nolan, there's going to be ways for De'Carrion Joyner to help your offense.
803-404-6100. We are kind of back up and running here on the early game. As you can join us, the Buford Lending live stream, where you can now check out Patrick and myself and Jen as we're getting you through the morning, and a bunch of our regulars jumping in as they normally do. Stephen telling us it's good morning in snowy, sleeting Virginia. Yeah, be safe. Southeast, man, it's Patrick's up in Nashville right now, and he's got snow. I know parts of Atlanta got massive amounts of snow last night. Obviously here in the Midlands and throughout the state, very windy, rainy. A lot of very difficult storms passing through. So be safe out there. But yeah, if you want to join us on the Buford Lending live stream this morning, if you're home for one more morning, my daughter is texting me now as I do the show. The 12-year-old daughter is asking if I think school will be closed today. She says, I need one more day, and schools are already delayed. So her 2-week break was not enough. She needs one more day. But Lexington District 1, Lexington District 2 operating on a 2-hour delay. So be safe out there. There are a lot of debris in the road. That's why I'm at my house this morning, not because I didn't want to go into the office, but there was a tree down, and that prevented me from getting any further than I needed to go. So if you want to join us, again, 803-404-6100. You can also follow along on the Buford Lending live stream. A lot of ways to get involved this morning. We'll continue talking about the game that was South Carolina 38-21 victory over North Carolina. Decor joining says, great game. Go Gamecocks. Happy New Year to all. And then Travis weighing in says, you take Rattler out of the equation, then did it change your mind? We'll ask those questions. We'll continue on talking about that game as well as many other things. A lot happening over the last several days since we joined you. We're getting into all of college football playoff as well. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. All right. I'll do zero res at 740. We'll do, okay. Uh-huh. All right. Let me fix, good morning, Carlton. Let me fix a little bit of coffee real quick and actually check on one family member real quick.
Hi, good morning. Driving through a blizzard, DC? Great. We'll be doing that in about an hour and a half.
At least you're familiar with how to drive in it.
Yep, that does help. This little car is not great for that, though.
Yeah, I suppose.
It'll be all right.
At least you have some stuff in the back that'll weigh it down anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, it was okay. All right, I'll call you after the show. I might take this. All school on a 2-hour delay, so she was supposed to come in at 8, but I don't know if she'll get in there today or not. So, all right.
No, Kelly, it was way too cold. We drove by it, got stuck in traffic for the Titan game, but good enough, Cal. It was like, it's been low 30s, high 20s.
Oh yeah, how was? Did you go to the Titans game yesterday, or were you just up there?
No.
You're welcome, Carlton.
Yeah. Ansley's very concerned. She needs one more vacation day and does not want to go to school.
Well, she gets 2 extra hours this morning, so that should help.
Well, she's been up. I checked on them bright and early. I started texting her. And I was just talking to my dad up in Prosperity to check on him.
Yeah.
Jen, right after we talked, I think whenever you text me, whatever. So Jen's about right back in that area downtown, about where you were at. We were talking about that green lightning.
Yep.
Dude, there was a huge thing of green lightning. It honestly looked like something out of Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it has to be transformers blowing.
That was wild.
Because, yep, I was seeing some of that too driving in.
All right, so we'll do 0 res at 7:40, and we should be on track, and we're good.
Well, yeah, you should have 3 breaks this hour.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll do kinetics in the next one and 0 res, and then we're good to go.
I got you. Down there somewhere. Come, Prende. Now I think you have a sleep number to record for tomorrow. Not on your lives, but just the recorded spots that run.
Do we need to do that today?
Well, I kind of thought we did. Do you even just see if we can push that back a day?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking that tree has been moved now, given that the power's back on.
Yeah. So do you want me to I'll get with Josh.
Yeah.
Just push it back.
Yeah.
All right, head it back. That's right.
803-404-6100, living a Shane Beamer there from Thursday, talking with his son. Hunter there is that looked disgusting. I mean, look, I think I saw John Whittle. I have to confirm this. I believe John Whittle putting out. I'm glad to hear John Whittle's doing a lot better, by the way. But I believe John Whittle putting out that there was about a $10,000 bonus for Shane Beamer for winning that game. So I guess if you get $10,000, you don't mind getting some mayonnaise poured all over you. The problem with it was you guys saw they clunked Shane Beamer in the back of the head.
I didn't realize how heavy it was.
He took a pretty he might have taken the hardest shot any South Carolina player took all day from somebody else with what he got hit with in the back of the head there, that the Gatorade tub full of mayonnaise. But Patrick, we'll talk about the college football playoff here in just a second. But again, that win, we said it, South Carolina's playing with house money, in my opinion, because of the opt-outs. I think because of what you had seen, because North Carolina was a preseason top 10 team. They were by game time, by the way, Patrick, I think we picked it at 9.5. Was that right on Wednesday?
Yeah. What did it get to 11.5?
It actually, I don't know what it was at kickoff. I do know at one point it reached 13. It was driving back, I'd estimate sometime around 9:30 a.m. I was driving back. I didn't stay for the game. Heath and I did the pregame show, and then I came on back and watched it with a bunch of friends. But it got up to 13. It made you wonder just how many opt-outs or how many COVID cases there was going to be. The other part, Patrick, we've talked about the offense all morning, and certainly they did a fantastic job, but a lot of credit to that defense on Thursday afternoon, getting stops, pressuring Sam Howell. Sam Howell just 12 of 20 for 205 yards and a touchdown. North Carolina runs for just 128 yards. South Carolina got him off the field on Thursday afternoon and really never allowed North Carolina. They had the big touchdown run, the long touchdown run. But other than that, Patrick, North Carolina never could find their momentum, their footing. They finished with just 333 yards, 1 of 10. Talk about getting off the field. 1 of 10 on third downs. And if you'd have told me they were going to do that without Cam Smith, because that was another part of it, I can't say that I would have believed you at all.
Yeah, really, it was the defensive line that was awesome. And it was, I don't know who you're most impressed by, but Zach Pickens was a menace out there. If that was Zach Pickens' last game in South Carolina, uniform that he went out in a good way. And I know that maybe earlier in the season when there was talk about him, this being his last year, people were a little surprised by it, but he is definitely ready for the league. If that was his last game, then it was a good opportunity. I saw several big time draft analysts talking about him, saying how his athleticism and just pure size is really going to translate well, and he's going to probably be able to contribute right away as a run blocker. But he was getting after the passer. Alex Huntley was out there getting after the passer. Jabari Ellis had a great last game. So it really, your hat's off to the defensive line without bringing tons of blitzes and having to scheme up a ton of pressure. Those guys made life difficult for Sam Howell all day long, and he really didn't have any time to breathe. I didn't even think Sam Howell played a bad game. I thought he played fine, but they were just in his face all day long, and he couldn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, the next step, South Carolina will enter the postseason or the off season now with a great deal of momentum. Obviously, Spencer Rattler there, Austin Stogner, but then you finish recruiting fairly well. Now you get the bowl game, you get an above 500 season. We'll see what happens. No surprise, Kevin Harris announces that he's going to the NFL, and you mentioned Zach Pickens. We'll see if that's something. Josh Vann, after the game, saying that he's still got a decision to make, even though it sounded like maybe he was leaning toward coming back. So, Patrick, a lot of things there, but one of, in my opinion, look, Marcus Satterfield, I don't see him leaving at this point. It's hard for me to believe, especially the way that unless it's something that's been in the works for a while where he's going back to the NFL, I don't see him going anywhere. I don't necessarily think he needs or deserves a raise. However, on the flip side of that, South Carolina needs to make sure you lock up Clayton White and make sure he knows he's wanted in Columbia and that he is a centerpiece of this team trying to get back to going to better bowl games, competing for the East, things of that nature, because I have to think Clayton White is going to be a guy who not just this offseason, but in seasons to come is going to be in demand. And South Carolina needs to make a commitment to him to make sure that he's around as long as they possibly can keep him.
Do you know where he stands just in the SEC hierarchy? Because I know, obviously $1 million is the number that all the assistants want, all the top assistants are getting. They want to be in that $1 million range, but where is he compared to is South Carolina is he getting paid less than like the Missouri D coordinators and things like that?
He's paid. I think he's on an escalator there. I know last year it was $900,000. I don't know if it bumps to $1 million in 2022. You know, Patrick, you look at the money around college football, and I'm not saying you throw some insane number at Clayton White, but I personally, I think to make sure he's happy, moving it to $1.2 million, I think is more than fair. You look at what he did with that defense this year. I'm not saying they were perfect all the time. Lord knows we saw him give up rushing yards to Will Shipley, to Tank Bigsby. Tyler Beatty basically single-handedly won that game for Missouri. The Texas A&M guys had a big running day. But I don't think anybody would argue that the defense wasn't improved at least a little bit from last year. And, one of the reasons that Dabo Swinney was able to build Clemson was through continuity on his coaching staff. And now we're seeing that change drastically. We're seeing that. We'll see what it means for 2022 for Clemson moving forward. But one of the reasons he was able to do that, and that's by taking care of your coordinators. This is going to be another step for Shane Beamer and for Ray Tanner as well. Again, I don't think Marcus Satterfield, based on one game, deserves a raise or an extension, anything like that. But I do think you take in the full body of work for Clayton White, 13 games. You got to make sure that you lock him up for as long as he wants to be here until I foresee him being a head coach one day. The way he speaks, the way he kind of runs things, he comes from a good background. When you talk about him being with David Shaw out in Stanford as well, and as long as he's not a head coach, you try to make that money, make him as comfortable as he possibly can be.
Yeah, well, but then you're concerned a little bit about when you're dealing with Shane Beamer's contract, because at a certain point you can't have your assistants too close to your head coach, right? Because that's a little strange. And Shane Beamer, based off 1 year of success, is one of the best values in all of college football. So what do you do about that too? I mean, he has to renegotiate soon, right?
Yeah, but I point. Look, there's a lot of reasons that you point to Dabo Swinney as the model for what should be followed. Swinney, early in his career, didn't take the money for himself. He used the extra money or after significant seasons to pay coordinators or pay assistant coaches, keep guys within the program and keep that continuity. That's huge for recruiting. When a guy is constantly going to the same high schools and wearing the same logo on his shirt and building relationships with prospects that are rising sophomores now or rising juniors, and that guy's still at your school, as opposed to bouncing around schools, that's pretty important. And so I understand. I agree with what you're saying. I do think it'll be interesting to see in the coming weeks what South Carolina does with Shane Beamer, and his long-term contract. If we see a little bit of a raise, if we see a little bit of extension, you can make the case if you want to. Hey, it's 1 year. That's only 1 year. And Lord knows what happened with the Will Muschamp situation after 1 year. You got to be very careful financially. Look at what's going on with UCLA. Have you paid attention to what's going on with Chip Kelly and his contract and where this is going? Chip Kelly is due $9 million next year. They have not renewed his contract. Now, Chip Kelly at the same time, Patrick, has not exactly been lights out there in Los Angeles, and quite frankly, the canceling of the bowl game probably hurt them even more. But UCLA's right now has got a little bit of a money crunch, and $9 million, $10 million, the amount of money that we're seeing paid out to these coaches these days, I'm not sure if UCLA can pay it. I know that SEC television money is going to be different, but I think that's another question. It starts to me with Clayton White and Shane Beamer making sure that he's taken care of next year.
So yeah, I mean, but South Carolina is not right, like you said. They're not concerned about it. They have the money, right?
They will. Whether you have it. I think do they have it? Do they have it as of January 3rd, 2022? I have no idea. But that money you're going to see. I think that's why you saw. Well, I mean that's why you saw Oklahoma really knowing that they're coming to the SEC. They couldn't have paid Brent Venables $7 million, or they wouldn't have paid Brent Venables, the guy who's never been a head coach, $7 million to be their head coach if they were staying in the Big 12 with that kind of money, right?
I don't know. Do they not? I mean, don't they have donors that have a lot of money. I don't know. I just think of storied, big schools, programs like that as just having basically an endless supply of money.
Well, I mean, do they have it to put out $7 million and then guarantee whatever Venables' contract was? That's why I think LSU had no problem getting to $10 million without blinking. Why Texas A&M, even though they've got big pockets there, had no problem getting to $9 million with Jimbo Fisher. We'll talk more about Texas A&M because another commitment for them yesterday as well. Another top 5 player nationally. What Texas A&M is doing on the recruiting trail. Absolutely insane. 803-404-6100. That's how you can join myself, Patrick Brett, Jen Jensen this morning. It's clearing up a little bit out there, but there's a lot of debris in the road, a lot of things that have happened. If you're getting up and out there, be safe. Please, please, please be safe. Again, weather has been extra crazy over the last about 12 hours. So please, if you get out there, pay attention to what's going on the road. We'll get you through the rest of the morning. You'll listen to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
More of the early game coming up on 107.5 The Game.
If you've been feeling sore post-holidays, you've been suffering from chronic pain, you've been told that surgery is your only option, that is not true. You need to make a New Year's resolution now, not too late, that you're going to feel better in 2022. Call QC Kinetics today to see exactly what I am talking about. 803-281-6860. Turn to the board-certified providers and the regenerative medicine solutions for a rejuvenating experience that will vastly improve your quality of life. If you've been having issues with muscles, with ligaments, with tissues, you've got inflammation that you can't seem to get rid of, let your body heal itself. It's a rejuvenating experience. It is regenerative medicine that QC Kinetics does that's at the forefront of making sure you do not need surgery or addictive pain medications. 803-281-6860. You can get your quality of life back starting today with a free consultation. 803-281-6860. Again, make a New Year's resolution for 2022. You're going to get your quality of life back by calling QC Kinetics today. 803-281-6860.
Clear. From the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center, Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com. We do have a report that Corley Mill Road, both east and westbound at Knollwood Drive.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's nasty out there.
It's to get through there, and that is due to a fallen tree.
It's time for a
also
new
report
year.
of a fallen tree, Two-Notch Road at Wire Road. I'm sure there are many other reports of that, but those
it might have fallen a time or two. Not last night, but
Two-Notch Road at Longs Pond Road, traffic lights malfunctioning. I-26 eastbound.
She has seen better days, that's for sure.
Right there at I-77, there is a report of an accident there. I-77 northbound at Highway 21, an accident. Old Garners Ferry Road at Garners Ferry Road, working that accident. And have one, the Pisgah Church Road at Hermitage Road. So be careful out there this morning, if you would. And these windy conditions to continue to about 11 or 12 today. And then looking for a high of about 52. But all this wind bringing a cold front, pushing that through. And we're looking for an overnight low of 28. Right now, though, it's windy, 53 at 107.5 The Game.
Gus Herlong announcing our newest Midas location in the heart of downtown Columbia on Gervais Street, across from the USC Law School. Drive into your locally owned and operated Midas Tires and Auto Service. The Herlong family welcomes you to our new downtown Midas.
Not again. I haven't gotten a good night's sleep once this year.
Make your 2022 resolution to get better rest with the help of Casper. Now, through January 4th, shop the New Year sale at Casper.com for up to 15% off select mattresses and 10% off everything else. For a limited time only at Casper.com or a participating store near you.
A good night's sleep really does sound like the start of a great year.
Exclusions apply. See Casper.com/promo for details.
You say goodbye, I say hello.
With Mercari, your unneeded things can find a new life.
Hello, hello.
Easily list and sell.
I know why I say goodbye and I say hello.
or discover great finds.
Mhm.
Buy or sell almost anything.
You say goodbye, and I say hello.
Download Mercari on the app stores or at Mercari.com. Mercari, your marketplace.
Patrick, I know you said it was what? You said it was 28 up there. It's getting chilly down here.
Yeah, I'm not excited for that. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do today. I don't know if I'm gonna nap after the show or just get on the road.
I don't know how exactly you're going to get back right now. I'm pretty sure both of your routes are covered in snow.
Yeah.
I'm not. I think you might have to deal with some extra issues. Happy New Year, Donnie. Good morning, Robin. Welcome back, kid. My daughter's talking about school already.
Woohoo!
Oh, good. Good to hear that all is good out there in Lugoff, Craig. And Craig, I think it was, did I see correctly? Happy birthday to your daughter. I think I saw your daughter's birthday was yesterday. 20? Yeah. God, man, what a rough end of the year. We lost John Madden, Dan Reeves, and then Betty White.
Just wrong. Ugh.
Short one here.
Yes.
Short one here. Eight 803-404-6100. You can weigh in this morning if you want to do so on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line or the Love Chevy phone line. You can also join us along on the Buford Lending live stream. Waddy, Craig, Donnie, Daddy O. Hi, everybody in and up this morning as we get 2022 off and running. And yeah, we didn't talk much about John Madden last week, but certainly, you know, at 85 years of age, the impact he had on football, Patrick. We'll probably talk more about that as the week goes on. Dan Reeves, former great Gamecock and legendary NFL coach and player, passing along, and then the unfortunate news on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve of the passing of Betty White. So 2021, they're closing with an interesting way, but we're off and running for 2022. And Patrick, you know, the college football playoff is going to be something we continue to talk about. And Harry hits us up on the live stream, or excuse me, on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Kind of a long text here. We appreciate you listening, Harry, and taking time to type all that out. You know, I don't know though. Harry's point in this long text message is not expanding the playoffs. But Patrick, I'd still be okay expanding the playoffs, seeing more teams get in. I don't know if that's necessarily going to mean that we get these great upsets. Maybe we get them every once in a while. The point being right now, to me, what I saw on New Year's Eve, and again, I didn't mind New Year's Eve playoff games, but Patrick, what I saw was two teams right now that are head and shoulders above everybody else. And I'm not sure who else. Maybe you throw Ohio State in next year with C.J. Stroud coming back. Maybe you think Southern Cal and Lincoln Riley are going to come back or make a run at it. But who else is there right now that's going to catch Alabama and Georgia over the next several years?
I don't know. I mean, maybe Clemson rebounds quickly. Ohio State's every couple years is going to be in that conversation. Their just defense has not been up to par with the last couple years. But I don't know why we think that players would opt out of playoff games. That's what I don't understand. That's so far been the only thing that is keeping players playing in bowl games is the fact that you have a championship to compete for.
Mm-hmm.
It's really just the bowl game is meaningful, I guess, to fans, but to a player, like at the end of the day, winning the whatever bowl game, you're not a champion. You won a game. So that's why kids are opting out, because it's when you go to a school like an Ohio State or a Notre Dame where you commit to that school as a 5-star to win championships and you don't have the chance to play for a championship, they say, okay, well, that's it. That's why they're not playing. I think the expanded playoff will solve all of that. There will not be opt-outs in playoff games.
We would assume, right? I mean,
we would assume.
We would assume.
knows?
I mean, that would be a lot to take in. I mean, you're right. If you've got a 12 seed taking on a 5 seed, and maybe somebody in the 12, one of the players for the 12 seed says, it's not worth it. You never know these days what exactly is going to happen. What did you take away, Patrick, from the actual playoff games? Georgia thumping Michigan 34-11 and Alabama 27-6 victory over Cincinnati to lead you to believe that a week from tonight, the national championship game will be any different in terms of how it played out just a few weeks ago?
Well, I think Georgia playing that game is the best thing that they could have asked for, because maybe they thought their defense was invincible. If there's any weakness, it's their secondary. Their secondary lost a lot last year. Eric Stokes, they lost Tyke Smith, the West Virginia transfer during this season. They lost Tyson Campbell, 2 guys that were top 33 picks. I think Tyson Campbell was the first pick of the second round. So that's not easy to replace. And I think they expected to just line up and go straight up against Alabama's wide receivers. They thought they'd be able to do it. And having seen what Jameson Williams did, because it wasn't Alabama that beat Georgia, it was Bryce Young and Jameson Williams. I mean, it was a couple freakish plays that just put the game out of control for them. Georgia was playing from behind, and they're not built to do that. So I think that if they can learn from that, just know that at all times you need help on Jameson Williams, double cover the guy. I mean, that's really their only giant threat. John Mechie's not going to be playing in this game. He's done for the year. So just give all your attention to Jameson Williams. You'll have a chance to win the game. I think it's as simple as that.
I think it'll be interesting. Stetson Bennett, obviously very good on Saturday, or yes, what is it? All my days are confused. Thursday or Friday night is when the college football playoff happened. But he was very good. I thought Michigan, I will say, I thought Michigan would be more competitive in that game against Georgia, Patrick. And I think that's right now kind of the other point to not just looking ahead to next Monday night and what Georgia could be, because, I don't know if you say, well, the SEC championship game, Georgia just tightened up or was not ready for Bryce Young or had not been challenged in weeks that led them to kind of being punched in the mouth and never recovering. But the difference, I really thought Michigan would make that a much more competitive game, and it just simply did not happen. And it kind of, to me, I don't think that it's an anomaly. I think that that's where we're at with college football. And again, if you haven't seen Texas A&M, Patrick, I know you follow recruiting. Yesterday, Texas A&M landing Harold Perkins, I think the number 3 player in the class overall. I saw he played in the Under Armour All-American game. He actually ended up playing both linebacker and running back. I think he is committing as a linebacker is where they are ranking him. According to ESPN, he's ESPN's number 5 overall rated player. He joins 3 of the guys as 5 stars in his class. What Texas A&M is doing, I mean, there's going to be no excuse in the next 3 or 4 years for Texas A&M not to be in the college football playoff as well, given the amount of talent that they've been able to kind of get here in this recruiting class.
It is one of the most absurd classes ever. I mean, I'm just looking at the top 10 right now. They've got number 2, Walter Nolan. They've got number 5 and 6, Evan Stewart, Harold Perkins. Number 7 is 100% crystal ball to A&M, and they've got number 8. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the top 10 players in the country. I don't think anyone's ever done that before. So yeah, this class is absurd. They've basically got the best player in every position in the country, or top 3 player in every position in the country. If you can't win championships with that, then you're clearly not up to the job of being a big time college football coach. So it's absolutely going to be championship or bust. And maybe that just adds a lot of pressure to this quarterback commit that Texas A&M's got, because everyone's going to look at the most important position on the field and say, look, you got NFL players literally at every position around you. It's all on you now.
803-404-6100, how you can join us this morning as we kind of get you through here. I'm just getting a text message regarding my kids' school, and it's, I believe, in reference to all of District 1, Lexington District 1, that today will be an e-learning day due to possible severe weather staying in the area longer than expected. So if you've got children in school, you might want to pay attention to your emails or your phone this morning and see what happens here over the next few hours. It looks like, at least for my kids, it'll be an e-learning day, but certainly a lot going on. We want to keep you updated on the weather as well as sports. So if you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100, we'll try and keep you updated. Jen's got you on traffic. Patrick and I have got you on sports. We'll keep you updated on everything else. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Dawn Staley, and you're listening to the home of the Gamecocks, WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
2022 now officially upon us. Boy, I tell you what, 2021 really did kind of zip by, and I tell you what, my favorite way to start the new year, making my home feel nice, clean, looking beautiful, the rugs, the tile, the upholstery, especially after those New Year's parties. I do it with Zero Res and their patented ZR water technology. You can get Zero Res carpet and air duct cleaning right now. You just need to give them a phone call, 803-262-4020. Right now, you mention my name. Just say Bill Gunner with 107.5 The Game. How hard is that? If you do it, you can get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119. And you'll get a hallway clean for free. So all you got to do is call Zero Res, or you can book online, ZeroResColumbia.com. You can get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119. And when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 Game, you can get a hallway clean for free as well. That is starting off your new year with a beautiful, clean home. That's ZR water technology, scientifically proven to get your rugs, your carpet, your upholstery insanely clean. Find out for yourself, 803-262-4020, or you can book online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
There. It's a little loud. From the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center, Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com. We do have a report that Corley Mill Road, both eastbound and westbound at Knollwood Drive, has been blocked again due to a fallen tree. So plan an alternate route in that area. It appears other accidents have been cleared at this time, but lots of work in the highways and still things blowing around. And there's also traffic lights that are malfunctioning throughout the Midlands, so be careful out there. The wind should continue through probably about 12 o'clock today, and after that, gets cooler. The temperatures have already come down. Looking for a high maybe of 52 today, overnight low of 28. But right now, it's 48 at 107.5 The Game.
By DuckDuckGo. Protect your privacy for free with DuckDuckGo.
I feel like I'm being haunted by a pair of headphones. Everywhere I go is a creepy ad for headphones I looked at one time. I hate
Well,
that.
Jen, I apologize. We got a little long-winded on that.
I'm used to cleaning up your messes.
Thank you. That's why we keep you around. Yep. Because of this threat of severe weather is staying around longer than expected, Lexington District 1 is shifting to e-learning today. All after-school activities are canceled as well.
It's just bizarre.
And Hope, Lexington District 2 just canceled? Okay, there you go. So, yep, everybody shifting to e-learning.
All right, I have us coming back, but we'll have an extra 2 minutes built in at on the other end.
What'd you say?
Top
Say that
hour.
one more. I apologize. What?
I said you're going to be coming back here in just a minute, or like in a few seconds. But we've got about 2 minutes built in on the other end. So it's top hour. We'll come back in at 7:04 ish.
Sounds good to me. Just kind of count me down or something. Give me a.
Okay. Dang it. You're up.
803-404-6100. You can join us this morning. Obviously, catching up a lot of college football playoff discussion, bowl game discussion as well. South Carolina basketball, Dawn Staley and her team last night, an 80-68 victory as well. They bounced back after a last-second loss at Missouri. The men take on Auburn tomorrow night, Colonial Life Arena. 6:30 is game time for that. Patrick, we need to also talk a little NFL. Wild day yesterday. I don't know how much you got to watch. Cincinnati, Kansas City, really fun. And, man, the Antonio Brown thing just –
Yup.
We'll discuss that for a minute. A lot to get into, Patrick. Start of the new year. So much to talk about.
It was a wild New Year's Eve through, NFL Sunday yesterday. There really was a lot.
Third hour coming up next. You're listening to the early game, 107.5 The Game.
The home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
All right, more coffee real quick this week.
Yeah, I was pretty happy I had Purdue in that game.
We all love him. We care about him deeply. We want to see him be his best. Unfortunately, we do with our team, but we have a lot of friendships that will last. Again, I think the most important thing about football is relationships with your friends and your teammates, and they go beyond the field. And I think everyone should be very compassionate and empathetic toward some very difficult things that are happening. So.
Yes, they will, guys. They need that. So earthquakes, this crazy weather. I'm telling you, if I see locusts, man, I'm going to be a little concerned.
I saw that, Travis. Wild game. Purdue, Tennessee, also a wild game. There were definitely a lot of Purdue and Tennessee fans in Nashville this weekend. That
Really?
game got a huge attendance. Let's see what the number was for that. They almost sold that thing out. Yeah, almost 70,000 fans.
Oh, wow.
It must be rough.
Go to school, son, or do your e-learning.
What?
I don't know. It says, "Hi guys, it's me, Austin." I don't know if that's supposed to be my son, and I'm not sure why it says 2013 forever. Jen, do you have a good traffic break?
Do I have a who?
I mean, not a good traffic break. You got a good update. When we come back, I'll kind of update schools being out because Hope, Hope, is that definitely confirmed about Lexington School District 2? I'll mention the schools being out for people because like I just called somebody. I called somebody else and they didn't know about the schools being out and then also just you kind of updating any trees down or anything that's out there.
Yeah, right. And it's weird because I'm only seeing that one now, which like all of the accidents disappeared. So I'm not sure what happened to the portal there.
Oh, good gracious. This guy sent a picture of a tree down in his front yard. Oh, there you go. Y'all able to hear that? Can you?
Oh, goodness.
Okay, Twitter. Yeah, I didn't. Jen, you can't see the. Yeah, you can see. Y'all can see the. I guess the rain out there across the lake. Is it raining down there, Jen?
Let me see. No?
No, not raining.
Don't see any rain.
Yeah, I guess this stuff. All right, so we'll update as much as we can here. Just be a bit of a newsy show too. So apparently my son Austin has figured out how to get on the live stream now since he's not going to school. It's good.
Well, it's e-learning. He's going to be learning about sports for the next hour.
He is e-learning. Yeah, he is e-learning. Patrick, what'd you heat up?
Pizza.
Oh, of course.
At 7 in the morning.
That's all right. Guys, Rook.
Well, happy 2022 to all of you out there. Bill Gunner, Patrick Brett, Jen Jensen here as we get you going on a Monday morning. It is nasty. Let's update you here because we do like to goof around and cut up and do all those fun things. A little bit more of a serious morning here. The weather out there a little dangerous. So if you're out and about, Jen, I was kind of asking you during the break, what's kind of for people if they've got to travel somewhere, what's kind of the latest there for anybody going out to travel this morning? Yeah, stay alert. Debris in the roads, maybe some downed trees. Keep an eye out for fallen power lines. As we sit here, I did not make it into studio this morning. There was a tree down just outside of my gate. I ended up doing the first hour because power was out here at my residence. Power was out, and the box that we use I did not have power. So for the first hour, I sat in my car. That was a unique experience. Not exactly how I planned to start 2022 doing radio, but I sat in my car with the box plugged in, and that's how we got through. Do need to also let you know if you have not gotten a phone call or not gotten or received an email, it appears Lexington District 1 and Lexington District 2 have gone to e-learning days. So at least I know for certain because with both my son and daughter, my daughter has been up emailing me or text messaging me all morning. My son has now jumped up and appears to be very heavily engaged in the Buford Lending live stream. But the Lexington District 1 has shifted to an e-learning day. All afternoon after school activities have been canceled as well. This is because the threat of severe weather is staying around longer than expected today. Again, it appears Lexington District 1 and Lexington District 2 have shifted to e-learning days today. So again, a lot going on. Also this morning, 5:54, Jen, Patrick, kind of crazy. Another earthquake out in Elgin, a 2.7 magnitude earthquake. So, again, we're going to talk a lot of sports here. The bowl game, obviously, the college football playoff. We'll talk. NFL was insane yesterday, Patrick. But yeah, if you're out and about this morning, be safe. If there's something you see, you need to give an update. Don't keep Jen on the phone too long, but call her and give her a quick update, and we'll make sure we relay it out to everybody else. 803-404-6100 is how you can not only call to weigh in with your sports opinions, but if you see a traffic situation out there or something going on that people need to be alert to, we appreciate you weighing in and giving Jen that information. Again, as it's kind of a crazy morning here as I look out over Lake Murray and the wind, it's supposed to be gusting up to about 45, 50 miles an hour today in certain places. So again, we ask from our family to yours, please be safe out there today. An odd way to start 2022, but here's where we are. And we started again, Patrick, locally, the big news, Clemson gets their victory. You and I did not discuss that. Heath and I discussed it on Thursday morning. But Clemson gets their victory 20-13 over Iowa State on Wednesday night. Ron from Lake Marion was asking if Clemson has awarded Brock Purdy a game ball just yet for his efforts in helping Clemson secure that victory.
That was honestly brutal. He came back. He could have gone to the NFL last year. Came back, tried to improve his stock, and then just such a dumb play. I mean, he batted a ball that was going to hit the ground into the air, only to be intercepted, and then fumbled. Gets a first down, fumbles back behind the line of the scrimmage in his last play ever in college. And I don't know really anything about Brock Purdy. I'm sure he's a good kid, but dude, what a brutal way to end your career.
Yeah, not good for him. Clemson picks up a 10th win. We mentioned that we thought that made their ball game a little bit more interesting for them, given that, you're not in the college football playoff, but securing win number 10 and keeping that streak alive was something that was important for that particular program. Obviously, on to South Carolina the following day. And we've talked about a couple different things, Patrick. We've offense, defense. It was the offense without a doubt, because I got to admit, I'm almost as surprised at the level of play from the defense as I am from the offense. North Carolina's high-powered offense, Sam Howell, everything that he was projected to be. We neither of us thought South Carolina could put up 38 points. I put out the tweet that I don't think anybody would have taken 18 points in the first quarter. Most might not have taken it during the game, but I don't think you can just discount or forget about the play of the defense on Thursday afternoon as well for South Carolina, holding North Carolina to under 350 yards and Sam Howell just 205 yards passing. Yeah,
I mean, the defense was great. The offense is going to be the story just because strictly by the numbers. The numbers were egregious. I mean, 543 yards to over 300 rushing yards is just an absolutely monster performance on the ground. And if you told me Sam Howell before the game, you said Sam Howell's going to throw 12 to 20, 205 yards and a touchdown, I'd say, okay, well, you feel pretty good about that. I mean, you probably feel like South Carolina's going to win the game if you can hold him to that. And then holding their rushing attack to 128 yards, you keep them under 150, you feel good about that. So, yeah, I mean, the defense was really good, but the offense, anytime you hit that 300 number on the ground, it's a ridiculous performance.
803-404-6100. Larry, regular Larry, not Gamecock Larry, sends us a picture on the Cool Care Heating Air text line. Be safe out there. It's a picture of a tree in his front yard down. Thankfully, it doesn't look like it caused any damage, but he says, tree down in the front yard, who cares? Still feel good for Gamecock football. Parker White, we hadn't mentioned that, Patrick. Good to see him get the all-time points record. He says Spencer Rattler, women's basketball back on track. Who would guess that the Gamecocks would be the first to hold the SEC banner up during bowl season? Yeah, that was something. Gamecock fans, Patrick, were pretty pleased with their team being the first one to get a bowl victory during bowl season. The SEC rallied a little bit. Did you take anything away from that? Because we did discuss a little bit of that on Wednesday morning. At that moment, the SEC was 0-4, but they would go on there to finish 5-2 over the next 7 games.
Yeah, I mean, 13 of 14 teams made bowl games. You're not gonna go undefeated in bowl games as well. Everybody but Vanderbilt made the bowl game. So to expect the bottom SEC teams to win too, I guess it's not going to happen. But they won the important ones, and I think the Auburn or the Ole Miss game has an asterisk next to it anyway. So basically, all of the premier bowl games, the SEC was victorious, except for the one where the starting quarterback went down immediately. So yeah, SEC reigns supreme again. Shocker.
So a rally there by the SEC. And again, we'll get an all SEC national championship game that we'll talk more about as the week goes on. Yesterday, Patrick, NFL wise, look, let's start with the wildest news, the wildest thing. I don't know. I don't know if it's the wildest thing I've ever seen in an NFL game. I guess I've seen crazier things. I do think it's the extremely lazy take today to come in and just bash Antonio Brown. If you haven't seen, Antonio Brown, if you haven't seen the Tom Brady post-game press conference, Patrick, Antonio Brown needs help. There's no question about it. Last night, even I was going back and reading all the things that Antonio Brown has done really over the last 4.5 years, dating back to his time in Pittsburgh. But the lazy take here is just to say that he's, a petulant child, that he's stubborn. There is something there that he needs help with. I don't know what it is. Yesterday was one of the craziest scenes. He refuses to go in the game. There were rumors that he was benched prior, and then Bruce Arians tried to put him back in the game, and that he wouldn't go back into the game. There's video of Mike Evans trying to kind of calm him down on the sideline. If you haven't seen it, it's all over Twitter. It's all over the internet. He takes his shoulder pads off, removes those, takes his undershirt off. I say shoulder pads. Takes his jersey and his shoulder pads off. Takes his undershirt off, takes his gloves off, throws those into the stands, and then basically runs to the locker room, giving the thumbs up and the peace sign gives the thumbs up to the Jets fans, the peace sign to his team. Apparently in the tunnel was asking security personnel for a ride to the airport. They did say that he would manage to find a ride to the airport. But
yeah,
I think
that was on Twitter too. The Uber driver took a video with maybe in the backseat. Yeah.
I don't know. This guy, I'm going to assume his career in the NFL is over, right? I guess you never say never, but you assume that it's over.
We've seen. I feel like we would have said this when all the hard knock stuff happened in one offseason, where he was moved to the Bills, then back to the Steelers, then to the Raiders, then left the Raiders, and all that crazy stuff happened in one offseason. But it's more severe than he's just immature. Like there's like some deep problems. If it's head trauma related, I don't know. I know people have speculated on that, but you don't do the things that he does over and over again. It's not normal. When it's not just football related either. I mean, it's trashing hotel resorts, throwing stuff off the balconies, not paying your chefs, Instagram living domestic disputes outside your house while the police are there, and just it's things that normal people don't do. I think Tom Brady pretty much nailed it by saying, look, he needs help, and now's not the time as media to pile on and make jokes about it, because there's something severely wrong with him. You said it's not that's among the craziest things that I've seen in a game, of a guy just taking the shoulder pads off, running across the end zone like a streaker while the game is still going on. He's jumping and high-fiving fans. It's like absolutely no idea what's going on there. And we're just a week removed from him getting combative with journalists in a press conference, saying that, oh, you guys are always just trying to make up stories and put hit pieces out on me, after he had just been suspended for faking his vaccine card. So there's some deep-seated issues there with him mentally, and I do hope they get worked out. If it would be irresponsible for another team to bring him in right now, but would I be stunned? Probably not, because he is one of the most talented players in the NFL.
Is he still one of the most talented? I think that's the other part of this is that we saw a guy, you go back to 2016 and what he's doing in his career. And at that time, Patrick, people are talking about him maybe being up there with Jerry Rice for the all-time greatest wide receiver ever in the history of the game. Because of what the numbers he was putting up, the ability, the speed, everything that he could do. And it all starts to really unravel in 2017 for whatever reason. And I don't know if I'm assuming with the way media works today, Patrick, that at some point, over the next 20 or 25 years, maybe sooner than that, that stuff will come out about Antonio Brown and what may be wrong. If there is something wrong, certainly it does seem to be that way. But man, I was really kind of blown away by that. But I think it tells you volumes about maybe what type of, not person he is, but the fact that basically you had Tom Brady and you also had Le'Veon Bell yesterday, basically coming out and admitting, hey, the guy needs help and we're going to try and be there for him. We understand, and he can't be a part of this football team. We don't want him to be a part of this football team, but we know that this guy, we know that this guy needs help. And I think for them to come out and say that, Patrick, it tells you there's more. There's a lot more going on with Antonio Brown than we will ever realize.
Yeah, and That's the thing. I don't know where it started, but I know that for years people have said that it started with that Vontez Burfict hit, that just brutal helmet years ago in the playoffs, because you can almost trace like a direct downward spiral from that moment right there. The next year was the year that he refused to go play in the Week 17 game for the Steelers, and Mike Tomlin was basically done with him after that point. So yeah, I don't know where this ends. The thing is, he's also not that old. I mean, what is he, like his low 30s right now? Did you see that in your searches? I think he's like 33 right now. Was going to be my guess.
He'll be 34 in July. Yeah.
So I mean, and he's playing at a high level. Like if you're just going by top talent, he's still one of the top 15 to 20 wide receivers in the NFL, and he's one of the best. Was one of the best threats on that Bucs team. So I cannot imagine that someone will give him another opportunity, but I mean, teams get desperate and talent. There's not talents like AB just walking around. So I don't know how many third, fourth, fifth chances people need, but yeah, it's not a good situation.
803-404-6100. We'll get back into talking about the bowl game that was South Carolina knocking off North Carolina 38-21. We're talking about the college football. Well, also yesterday, Cincinnati and Kansas City. For I guess as sad or as bad as the news was on Antonio Brown, you had one of the great games of the NFL season yesterday take place in Cincinnati, and Joe Burrow, he and his cigars after big victories, the story of that yesterday. We'll get into the Bengals and the Chiefs a little bit as a great day for them, but we'll continue talking about South Carolina, North Carolina. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. That time of year that you want to get back out, start getting ready for golf. How about, the PGA season kicks off on Thursday night. Maybe your golfing season is just around the corner, but you've been suffering some back issues. Maybe you've got a little bit of problem with your neck, your spine. It's time to get those fixed, and you need to try the natural approach before you try the surgical approach. Call Dr. Pate Cooper, Dr. Roman Cooper, 803-796-2424. Get that visit lined up to let them work with you and get back to living the lifestyle you want to live. Dr. Pate, Dr. Roman Cooper with KC Chiropractic is in the business of getting people out of pain, and they will certainly do that for you. You just need to get that appointment scheduled today. 803-796-2424. They are the doctors at KC Chiropractic Center. Our good buddy Chuck on the Buford Lending live stream, he raves about them each and every day about how they make him feel better, and they will do the same for you. They're dedicated to helping you and your loved ones, if they're in pain, get out of it and stay healthy so you can focus on enjoying your life. And they do it also with transparent and affordable prices, so you never have to worry about hidden fees. So if you're suffering from back pain, arthritis, you've had any kind of car accidents or other accidents lately, and you're just ready to feel better, call KC Chiropractic Center. 803-796-2424. That's Dr. Pate and Dr. Roman Cooper. 20 years each of experience in the industry. 803-796-2424. That's KC Chiropractic Center. Keeping an eye on this wind back behind me here. I don't know. Y'all can't. I'm kind of blocking a decent view here. I love watching weather, but it is, and it's gotten cold out there too. It's not really enjoyable, but it looks like the wind is shifting a little bit now. It's crazy out there. I mean, last night was basically a tropical storm that kind of roared through. Where are my binoculars? Look out towards the dam. Yeah, that wind is coming across something else. Yeah, the kids are they're okay about the e-learning day. The daughter was happy. I just don't think she was ready to go back to school. Yeah, I saw a bunch of some of that stuff about thunder snow kind of off to the west in Atlanta and Eric. Yeah, I get a little bit too excited about weather. I kind of sitting here and being able to watch the weather go across the lake at times, back and forth, watch the storms, look out downtown. I kind of got some binoculars where I can look out, um, kind of out toward the dam and see like just the white caps and how bad it is out there, kind of on open water. I mean, it's knock on wood. I never go through a tornado, but I didn't know what the I didn't. I kept wondering if we were going to get one last night. Oh, 803-404-6100. That's how you can join us this morning if you want to get involved, talking a little bit about obviously the NFL yesterday, but mostly about South Carolina and North Carolina bowl season as a whole. Our buddy Buckeye Eric Patrick weighing, and he wants a little bit of love for his Buckeyes. And we did get a run of really good games there late in the afternoon on Saturday. It started with Kentucky and a really good rally to knock off Iowa in the Gator Bowl there, not the Gator Bowl, the Citrus Bowl, excuse me. Kentucky rallies for a 2017 victory. Then you had Oklahoma State with the big rally over Notre Dame to win 37-35. And then Ohio State, Patrick, 48-45 over Utah. So we actually got some really fun, entertaining New Year's Day games. Was there one in particular that you settled in and were able to take in and really kind of enjoy?
Yeah, that Rose Bowl. That Rose Bowl was ridiculous. That was probably the best game of bowl season right now, and it was probably the best individual performance of bowl season. Jackson Smith and Jigba was an absolute maniac. 346 yards. I don't know if that was a bowl record or a Rose Bowl record. It was some sort of record. That is actually just ridiculous. And he should have had 4 touchdowns. He fumbled right before the end zone on one of them. So yeah, 15 catches, 347 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's absurd numbers. That's a great passing day. So also the backup quarterback for Utah was electric. Cameron Rising was really good to start, and then Bryson Barnes came in, true freshman I think, and played really well. So that game was back and forth all day long, and that was a lot of fun. The Rose Bowl felt like it meant something too.
It did. Well, it's just pageantry. It's
Right.
you have a full stadium, and nothing against. I mean, look, you start watching the Gator Bowl there, and again, the Gator Bowl was not a game. It was what it was, right? Wake Forest and Rutgers. Wake Forest doesn't really travel to begin with, and then you've got Rutgers, who again, everything kind of coming together for them. They kept telling the story about the punter that was over in Australia, and they had to get him back. And then you move on. This is on Friday, on New Year's Eve. You move on to the Central Michigan Washington State game, which was kind of entertaining. You go into the nightcaps, the New Year, the playoff games, Alabama, Cincinnati, Georgia, Michigan. You didn't get much there, but on Saturday again, even Arkansas, Penn State, even though it was a 2-touchdown game, pretty entertaining. But those 3 there in the middle of the day, Kentucky, Iowa, Oklahoma State, Notre Dame, and Ohio State, Utah, all decided by 3 points or less. And what did you make? How much of the Fiesta Bowl did you get to watch with Marcus Freeman making his debut for Notre Dame? They get the big 28-7 lead. They led 28-14 at halftime, but Oklahoma State rallies and finds a way to knock off Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman in his debut.
Yeah, I watched that kind of in the background while we were at brunch. They put up the stat that Notre Dame had never lost with a 28 or 21 point lead in the fourth quarter, I think, something like that. So Spencer Sanders was really good. I think he had a point to prove after the Big 12 championship, which was one of his worst games of his career, that lost Oklahoma State a chance to play in the college football playoff. He lit it up, 371 yards and 4 touchdowns from him, and also a huge day on the ground. I think it was over 100 yards on the ground too. So yeah, I mean, it was a monster performance from him. Was that his last game as an Oklahoma State Cowboy? Is he a senior? I didn't watch it again, so I never really heard that part.
He's a junior. I don't expect him to declare. But again, I for all I know, he's a sophomore with the way COVID is and how these kids are registered. But
Jack Cohn probably played his best game as a Notre Dame player too. I mean, over 500 yards and 5 touchdowns for him was a huge game. I don't know. I guess he's the presumptive starter going next year. I don't know if he's a grad transfer. I never know the ages of anyone anymore, but he was actually impressive, and he's not been impressive all year, really. Yeah,
Cohn is a senior again. Because of what you just said, I'm not 100% sure if this was like a magical 6th year. It's hard for me to tell these days. There'll be kids that come back next year, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe that kid's back for a 22nd year. A couple of you are hitting us up on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, and yes, I forgot about it because it feels like 2 months ago. Tennessee Purdue, Patrick, the late game after South Carolina, North Carolina. Also an absolutely phenomenal game. The questionable call at the end with Tennessee not being able to get the touchdown there that in overtime, or I guess at the end of regulation, whatever it was, and they end up losing 48-45. That one was a really good one. And look, going into next year, even in a loss, you feel like Tennessee, they got Hendon Hooker back. They've got some playmakers back next year. You feel like that Tennessee is right there in position to make a claim. We don't know what Florida's going to be. I have no clue what Florida's going to be next year. But Tennessee, and I think to a lesser extent South Carolina, come out of bowl season feeling a little bit better about trying to get into that 2nd or 3rd spot in the East next year.
Yeah, Tennessee fans are feeling really good right now. And that game I read during the live stream, they had 69,000, almost 70,000 fans of that game. They broke the Music City Bowl record. Tennessee fans are excited. In Nashville all weekend, that Purdue fans were out in force. Tennessee fans were out in force, but they're feeling really good. That Hendon Hooker will be back. Their hope is probably that another big time season from him and offense putting up huge numbers will result in getting skill players there, just like Oklahoma has the last couple of years. It seems like every year, one of the top quarterbacks, top couple of receivers, everyone wants to go play in that offense where you can just put up huge numbers. If Tennessee has one more year where they can replicate the success from this year, get a couple better recruits in, and you run that offense with more talent, it's only going to get better. So Tennessee fans this is the best they've felt since what? I don't even know how far back.
It's been a while. It's been a while. Of course, they were I guess, a top 15 team there not too long ago. Going to Georgia after Jeremy Pruitt had signed the big extension.
Yeah, so this is the best. That's what I was thinking. This is the best they felt since the Pruitt extension, right?
Yeah, somewhere in there. So overall,
I think Josh Heupel's there to stay. I mean, how much money is he making, by the way? Do you know off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head. I'm guessing he'll be in line for a raise too, as they want to lock him up. And look, after this most recent round of contract negotiations with coaches and everything, you assume that things will slow down. We'll continue talking about that. We'll kind of wrap up on the South Carolina North Carolina game and keep you updated on the weather. Again, as I watch the wind really starting to continue to pick up this morning. So if you're out and about, please be careful. Keep an eye out for debris on the road or anything you want to report. Jen is here, 803-404-6100, as we try and keep you updated here. A lot going on this morning as we kick off 2022. Oh, there went my grill. Tip.
Just tipped over. Oh, boy.
There went the grill. Be safe out there. That's not. We're going to fix that during the break. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game of 107.5 The Game.
This is exciting.
Yeah, the wind has changed here. And yeah, Eric, the wind has completely changed here. It was blowing in behind me, and now it's blowing that way, blowing in this way. Yeah, Waddy, it's shifted.
Probably.
Not good. Not good. Yeah, it's crazy out here. It really is. It's like a tropical storm because we got the backside of it this morning, and now the wind has completely shifted the opposite direction. The clouds are blowing back like Waddy said from the north.
Did you see that Bruce
Another
Arians?
stressful day of watching the boat, making sure the boat doesn't sink. I really should have gotten it out over the weekend.
See, Bruce Arians is coaching with a ruptured Achilles.
Is he?
Yeah.
He's only coaching. He's not playing.
But he's going to need immediate surgery. He's going to basically need to be rushed to the hospital if it fully ruptures, which it could at any point.
Carlton, great meeting y'all as well. Yeah. Jen, let's see here. We come back. Play number 2, please. You all right?
Yep.
You look more stressed out than I am.
No, it's all good. Just looking at the time, not gonna have tons of time. We got probably need to allow for 5 minutes for the next break.
Okay, we'll do a quick one here. We'll play that. Just
Yep, I'll play that coming back. Listen to this when I was driving back.
This is such an advantage for an offense, and you know, I'm sitting here saying to myself, like, why the heck do we have this year if that's what our offense is going to look like? So I'm sure that's what the message board is talking right now. Is how these coaches are to the 13th game to do this, which they have a point on that one as well. But it's a great advantage, and you know, honestly, we ended up just being able to do it with DK and Zeb, but we had plays in there where Juju was going to be the quarterback. We had plays in the game plan. Kevin was going to be the quarterback, and then you know maybe 1 or 2 others. So we had about 5 guys that plays in the game plan.
Yep.
Potentially arrived at the quarterback, but obviously went really well with DK and Zeb.
Shane Beamer talking about the quarterback play on Thursday afternoon, Patrick. And I guess my question would be, does what you saw give you hope that South Carolina can take advantage of the talents of Spencer Rattler next year? You saw a playmaker in Jaheim Bell. We saw a Marion Brown step up just a little bit. You assume Marshawn Lloyd is going to get back. But, Patrick, you know, what you saw on Saturday with the play calling, with the run game, with some of the deep passes, does it give you hope for next year in regards to Spencer Rattler?
I guess you could be negative and say it's the opposite because, like Shane, I don't know if that was a shot at Marcus Satterfield. I don't think it was, but when he said these coaches are people are on the message board saying these coaches are so dumb for taking 13 games to figure it out, and they've got a point. I mean, yeah, we've said it for 3 years now with the Carolina Jordan. Like, just put 8 plays in the game plan for him. Just get a couple carries and make him have the threat of throwing, and you can probably take the top off at some point. And so, yeah, maybe. But I think the Spencer Rattler, he's just such a different type of talent that if you can't take advantage of it, then you've got huge problems. I mean, you hope that you explain away the problems from this year as you had 3 different quarterbacks, now 4 kind of the bowl game. None of them are even close to the talent level of Spencer Rattler. I guess Luke Doty is very talented, but you got 2 guys that are largely pocket quarterbacks that can't really get out in space, and Zeb Nolan and Jason Brown. Jason Brown was a much better athlete than he looked like in the spring game, but 2 guys that are largely going to have their feet planted and just delivering from the pocket. Spencer Rattler, there's nothing that you can't put in your playbook for Spencer Rattler. So I think, yes, I think you're excited and you're hoping that the limitations on this offense this year were largely about talent and not wanting to put too much on somebody's plate because none of them had a ton of experience. Zeb Nolan had been in the offense for 2 weeks before the first game. Jason Brown has not played football in 2 years. He came from the FCS. Luke Doty has been through as much as any second-year player has, from switching positions, getting hurt, coming in as a starting quarterback, getting hurt again. It's just been a nightmare for him. So, yeah, you hope that the full playbook is at your disposal next year.
The other part will be seeing what South Carolina can do with the recruiting, with the transfer portal to try and bring in more receivers. Jacob Cowing, a transfer wide receiver out of UTEP, will make an announcement later today. All indications are that he will choose Arizona. For those wondering, he has a child there. It's kind of been reported. That's not exactly like secret news. He has a child there, and then I think wants to go back home and be close to his young son. So he will, but he was a big target for South Carolina, was the guy that Spencer Rattler had tweeted about. The other news yesterday, Landon Sampson announcing he will not enroll early, but will enroll this coming summer. So you do need to continue to build on some playmakers. Again, Amarion Brown, 4 catches, 61 yards on Thursday. We'll see what happens with Josh Vann going into next year. Certainly, it was not the kind of game that Vann would have liked to send him off. No catches. Jaheim Bell was the guy on Thursday. 5 catches, 159 yards. Brown next on the team, 4 for 61. E.J. Jenkins got into the action, as did Xavier Legette, each catching a pass for 7 yards. So, Patrick, you're right. The quarterback is big, but they're going to have to get a few more playmakers at wide receiver. We'll wrap up the thoughts on the bowl game on a Monday. Hopefully during the break, no grills will blow over. If you are concerned about it, good news. The grill appears to be perfectly fine. We have just moved it out of the way to win. Austin will be relieved. Yes, the grill appears to still – we're not sure if it's working, but at least it is back upright. It was right there as we were going to break. One of the big gusts of wind just blew it right on over. So we may be in the market for a new grill in the coming weeks. But be safe out there. Be safe out there. I mean, that wind, I don't know what it's like if you're driving on the interstate or if you're driving down, say, 378 or number 1 or going into Columbia, but it is certainly picking up, and we want you to be safe out there. So pay attention, both hands on the wheel. Keep an eye out for debris in the road or anything like that from fallen trees, fallen limbs. Definitely stay alert, stay safe today because it appears it's going to be quite an unusual day around here. So far, we've had a weird storm, and Jen, we've had an earthquake in South Carolina on the first Monday of 2022. Welcome in. It's the early game on 107.5, The Game. Yeah, earthquakes, major storms. You know what, though? It's not South Carolina unless it was, 80 degrees. I was shorts and flip-flops on New Year's Day. Was up at the restaurant there, and people were discussing that. And then today or tonight, it's supposed to get down to 28. So if your heater is not working, if your AC and heating unit is in question, I would say now is the time to call Roy and Dana Finley, AAA Heating and Air, 803-677-1500. You need to tell them Bill Gunner sent you. They will take care of you. $59 inspection. Get them out to your house. Let them take a look at your heating and air unit. If it's not working properly, they need to get it fixed, need to do whatever's necessary. And if there's a major problem with it, you got to have a completely new heating and air unit. Good news, AAA Heating and Air got you taken care of there as well. First thing that they'll do, offer you a $1,500 rebate to buy back your old unit, then work with you. For those who qualify, no money down, 0% financing on a brand new unit. And finally, a 15-year parts and labor warranty to make sure that new unit continues to work properly, so that when you've got 80 degrees on a Saturday and 28 degrees on a Monday, everything is working perfectly fine. Call AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500. Give AAA Heating and Air a call today. Tell them you heard it here on Bill Gunner with 107.5 The Game. How long is this supposed to last today? My goodness. Let's look at the yeah, Austin, don't worry. I think the grill's okay. As long as the wind keeps blowing from that direction, I'm okay. If it switches and comes in the other way, I am in deep trouble. It was blowing correctly. So the wind advisory, at least right now, is until 11 a.m. Is it going to die down then? You love some steak, buddy? I know. Yeah, wind will die down here in a little while.
The steak that you put in the ground, Austin?
Yeah, so we plant them and we grow them.
There you go. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, so what? Travis, 50 miles an hour until lunch?
Yeah. That's what I heard.
I'm just looking at the rain continuing through 12.
I do like how Austin was checking on the grill. He didn't come down to take a look at it and help, shore
No,
that
he's
up.
not. He's not here this morning.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's school, e-learning.
There you go. Because see, that's what my kids would have done, is they would have, been in their room or something and just said, "Hey, that looks bad."
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how accurate the school message is. Looks like it's still going to die down a little bit. Break back out my binoculars.
Aren't you sweet?
This is so good because it's like everything people want to know.
Yeah,
Good job.
well, thank you. I was trying to be as, thorough as I can. Of course, I get a little more sassy on here. I'm like, but other than that, thanks for going around. But
No, I think
is
it
that okay?
sounds better.
Yeah,
Yes, because
it's not
it's
so
like
serious.
it's real. It feels. I think it comes off that you're standing right there, not doing it from this studio.
Oh, okay,
So,
good. Well, then I'll just make sure I kind of keep it, because I don't want to overstep my place or whatever.
I
Just
love it. In fact, anytime you want to throw in like stuff for us with you.
Okay.
Like I was just talking about things rolling out into the road. Sometimes I don't even know what it is. I just saw something rolling over at your bay. I'm like, it's just a ground thing.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because Bill just a minute ago on the live stream, he's like, "Oh, there went the grill," and literally his grill just blew over.
No.
It is. It's crazy. Yeah. But thank you. Yep.
What was that update?
I was just being complimented by one of the other stations for my traffic stuff. So we'll have about a minute and 15 coming back. All right, guys are up.
Well, Jen, Patrick, I would say it's an eventful start to 2022.
Yep.
Guys, I don't even know how to necessarily wrap up this program. If you don't know, I did the first hour in my car on one of the boxes because there was no power here at the house and I couldn't get out of the neighborhood because of a down tree. We had an earthquake at 5:54 this morning in Elgin. Hope everybody's safe out there. Trees, limbs, it's windy today. Be safe. Be safe. We've got lots to get into this year. It's going to be a really good year right here on 107.5 The Game, right here on this particular program. Patrick, be safe coming back through the snow today. Patrick's coming back.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun drive, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah, time to pack the car.
We will. We've got all week. South Carolina, North Carolina bowl game. We'll continue to talk about that. Gamecocks, Auburn tomorrow night. College football national championship next week. So much stuff to start off the new year with, and the grill still appears to be working. That's good news. We'll keep you updated. Thank you for listening. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Stay safe. Yeah. I think I'm the moron that's about to go wander around outside for today. Jen, are we good? We'll cut that one spot tomorrow. Bye, buddy.
Jen,
Bonnie,
you're muted.
good seeing you. Chuck, DC, Travis, we'll all talk to y'all tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes, be safe, guys.
Everybody take care. I'll get us out here. Later. See you in the morning.
All right. We'll see you in person tomorrow.
Austin says, be careful.
Thanks, Austin.